Alright, welcome to the final day of the 2025 Hearthstone World Championships. Can the Western community protagonist Maxi manage to get the title? Will the most experienced player Jyoti make it to the final? Can Inkuro continue his fantastic play and manage to get some more wins? Are there any of the others that are going to make a memorable moment here? We have to see all of that, and we start with Definition versus Chonsu, the first quarterfinal of the day, I believe. Yeah. So, Definition is up 2-1, and his Death Knight is going up against Chonsu's Shaman. We have an Exarch Malader that we kept in our opening hand. I generally don't think that we're supposed to keep that, but we do get a Dreadhound Handler to go alongside with it, and a Creature of Madness, which we also kept. So that is probably quite alright. We do pick up a Life Render, which is a Divine Shield Wind Fury, with the Divine Shield Wind Fury Dark Gift. Not a great hand for the Shaman. No big spell for the Bellhop, no Flight of the Firehawk to buff the Bellhops or the Growfins in hand. That get drawn. There is a Turbulus, so at least the Shaman's got that going for it. But Definition's opening hand is looking quite a bit better. No real place for turn 4 or 5 though. It's just this Dreadhound Handler that will have to bridge both of those turns. And Joseph does pick up a big spell. So that kind of saves him from this situation. It looks like the Maladar will be... We have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 corpses. So the Maladar will be 1 corpse off to be able to play this Ysera Double Giant on turn 6. The Definition will be able to do that on turn 7 instead. Not really a turn from Chonsu. Just a hero power pass. No playable cards for him, unfortunately. So there won't be that much pressure being put on. He does trade to protect his free one. And Definition does pick up an Infested Breath off the top. But as long as Chonsu does not trade this Leech away, the Maladar will not be able to come down with the Ysera. And I believe you are supposed to play around that. I mean, Chonsu doesn't even have the option to heal the Leech, he just plays the Shatter Block. And now this is a pretty clear play the Husk. Then next turn we have a Maladar double Ysera. What are we doing? There is no reason to play the Maladar here really. You could only play a Husk or a Shaladrossil with it, and that does not let you get the Giants down. There is really not much reason to have a 5/5 in play. This is probably the... What? What just happened? Why is there a Maladar in play? This was supposed to play the Ysera and Double Giant next turn, and this way we just have a 5/5 in play a turn early, but we don't have an Ysera, a Double Giant, and we don't have all the extra mana. I don't understand. What just happened? Like, this way we just lose to the Shatter Blocked 8/8s. Which we know they're in Chonsu's hand. Like, he does pick up the Pterodax, which is not particularly helpful actually. Allows him to hero power with both the giants. Now, I don't understand anything that happened this turn. Yeah. I mean, the Growfins are, I believe, 9/9s, yes. So they will just value trade the 8/8s. And like, I think the game's just over. Just like that. Like, none of the Definition cards do anything. Just 42 damage on board. There is a hammer in Chonsu's hand that'll finish the game off. He decides to play the Shaladrossil and dream a minion. Probably don't dream the Growfin because that's gonna make more 8/8s. And he's just going to die to Wish Upon a Star now, I guess. I don't really understand what happened. This looked like the easiest win of Definition's life, and then we just decided not to play the Ysera of the Maladar. That's a crazy thing to happen in game one, and the more crazy thing about this series is that Definition will be able to pick himself back up and actually win this game 5 and advance to the semifinal, despite his play not being so clean. So we'll see what happens with that. But for now, let's move on to the next one. This is Inkuro versus Loftstorm. Warrior versus Hunter in game 5. Oh, not Warrior versus Shaman, sorry. I saw a bird watching and I kind of assumed it was Hunter. Despite the fact that this is a tourist town, card from Perils in Paradise, so using a tourist, you can run it in a Shaman deck as well. Lovestorm does have a pretty good opener with double 5/4s coming down. Inkuro does not find new heights here. Could coin Elise, but it doesn't really do anything on board. You're not going to be able to play the location next turn anyway, so he does decide to play the shield block. And in case both of these minions do attack, then he can coin Hostile Invader and Safety Goggles to clean up the board, except for that is not going to happen because the Turbulus will get the Bellhops out of range of the clear. He decides to go for the Invader Safety Goggles anyways, which with the Defraddles of the Invader will clean the 6/1s up on the next turn. Loftstorm has a decision here whether he wants to trade one of the 6/1s into the Invader, prevent damage on his future minions, or send the 6 to the face and say that he doesn't actually care about getting these 2/4s from Frosty Decor damaged. We'll see what he decides. He takes his time to think about this one. I mean, there's not really anything else you need to think about this turn, so might as well. He does decide to go face. And now Inkuro, I think, like, there's definitely a decision here. Like, I think he might want to consider playing the Ancient of Yore. The Elise is like the slowest card in hand, so like you do want to get value out of it. Like, it is very natural to play Elise here. It just plays very kind of weird with the curve. And like, I mean, I don't hate playing the Elise here. I think the location is not that good though. We did get Raptors on the second one. I don't remember what the first one is though. And Lovestorm will just Furious Foul. Oh, this is 2/1s and Death Rattle. Yeah, Lovestorm will be able to just fouls this Elise and continue putting pressure in play. At this point, I think you have to location. I don't understand why we're brawling. It felt like you kind of had to location. We would go down to 12, but we do have the Crocolisk Brawl combo if we are really scared. Wait, I suppose it's not ideal. Okay, I can understand what we thought. But now we're playing the location a turn later, and we're in a very similar position. Maybe a little more healthy, and there's gonna be a bunch of large A-dates after we brawled a board of free freeze. Not exactly ideal. And now we need to, well, somehow figure out a way to get out of the situation. We can't really ever play these New Heights or the Yor in this spot. Maybe you just have to brawl and New Heights here. Actually, picking up this brawl is massive, as that is the only way we get this ramp slash Ancient of Yore in. You could also consider bobbing and hero powering, either hero powering or precursor striking a minion. I feel like I really want to get these New Heights down, because if we're not gonna get them down now, then like we're super unlikely to get it down next turn with a minion. The precursor strike should have absolutely never gone face. That there is no reason to care for Loftstorm's life total. There was some like fringe out of, I think, weapon and avatar form, which Inkuro could have died to with the Brawl New Heights play. And also, I suppose you don't really want to use your second Brawl. But no Wish upon a Star has come down yet, so your removal is actually still good. The problem for Inkuro is the Wish upon a Star will come down soon, and we still haven't managed to get the extra mana. There is a Bulwark picked up, which will protect us. But the problem is, we don't have any Brawls left. We don't have a Bob left, so any large board we just kind of explode to at this point. You will definitely have to play the Bulwark here, and the only consideration is how many of these 2/1s are you going to trade in. You are very scared of a Wish Upon a Star from Hagafa, which can be tripled with Shatter Block. And that could also come down with a Bumbling Bellhop. You know there is no clear in the Warrior deck anymore, because they played both of the Brawls. We decided to Totem instead, which I feel like I'd rather have the Bellhops in play, knowing that they can't really get cleared. But this board looks big enough, question mark? Yeah, these double new heights, you're still in hand, by the way. You really need to figure out, like, when you play this warrior deck, it's really essential that you figure out the time to play those. Without being able to play them, Inkura is in a lot of trouble. He shouldn't be dead now with the free charges of Bulwark as well as the Ziliax in play. Does decide to kill the healing totem and takes the bump of the Ziliax into the shadow block, hoping that he's gonna be able to clear it with the Ziliax attack. Not gonna happen as the Nomelia comes down, clears up the Ziliaxes. Very large Nomelia, in fact. And the Bulwark does get popped, leaving Inkuro at 18 and staring this enormous board. Not really sure how we're supposed to get out of this. You could click the location that will AoE both the Nomelia and the Shatter Block, and then try to find maybe Time Warp of Levraxion. Yeah, nothing in the deck that will help with this situation. The Great Dracorex is not big enough. There is no Time Warp, but there is an Amara that should keep you alive on board at least, with the taunt being able to protect you from one of the sources of damage. So he's just barely alive. Oh, and that Growfin off the top pickup will seal the deal. Loftstorm advances to the semifinal. Inkuro, he has played amazingly throughout this tournament, and he has gotten a lot of praise for it. Unfortunately, this game 5 wasn't really his game, and he will not be able to complete the reverse sweep on the Shaman as the Warrior finishes and gets the job done. Alright, the third quarterfinal that we have is Jiaoti versus Yanming, the former world champion with the cat ears, ready to rock, and this is a warrior mirror. Jiaoti has the new heights. Not really that much happens in this warrior mirror. There is one pretty crucial decision here, where Yanming's hand is looking quite expensive, but without a real turn 5 play. And he is thinking about that. So the thought process here, I believe, is we coin Elise because we think it doesn't die, so we can Brewmaster it and then play another one on 5, and we take a lot of locations. We take 2 10-cost locations for the late game. The problem that I have with this logic is this is a long time away from now, and we get a new heights pickup, which, if we really want this Elise back, we can't do right now, which is going to play really awkwardly with this curve. But I mean, it's not particularly valuable to play this Elise right now if all we are looking for is 10 cost locations, which is what Yanming is doing, clearly. Jiaoti, on the other hand, doesn't really have a lot to do despite hitting ramp in the early game, and I will just like skip fast forward a little bit. Yanming just throws the invader down instead of playing the new heights. It's a little crazy. And yeah, sometimes happen. There is a bobbed ceaseless on Jiaoti's hand, guaranteeing that he won't be running out of removal anytime soon, at least as soon as the ceaseless actually get to 0. And that will be a while. Yeah, not much happens here. Yanming finally plays the Elise again, pairs it up with the new heights to be able to ramp towards these locations. Both of these locations have copy on them, So it's going to be a little difficult to play them with an immediate impact, and I believe there is a Renovator in Jiaoti's deck, so you really do want that immediate impact. The Dracorex will come down on the Zilliax, get cleaned up. And we can kind of skip forward here as this is a Warrior Mirror and I don't really want to bore you all with it that much. But there is one thing that you can already notice is that Yanming's life total is looking suspiciously low. I think at least one of these locations, if not both of these locations, have life. Actually, okay, one of these locations is Attack Death Rattle, which is not very useful at all. And the other one is Copy and Armor, which that's the one that we want to get down, but we would like to get it down with a minion. Otherwise, it just gets renovated. By the way, Jiaoti's hand, I don't know if you guys are like looking at with me. This card is completely empty. There's just removal, but there's nothing to actually do. So he might float 12 mana here if he doesn't pick up something off the top. Oh, I guess he does finish the quest, so he can do that instead. We're gonna start with the Precursory Strike. Here, play the quest, and these are like the most important turns of the game. He does find the Time Warp, so we are going to try to kill our opponent with that. And it does help that Yanming is only at 50 life. Once these Ceaseless get reduced to 0, it might be the time to go in with the Time Warp, especially if we can pick up the Galvadon at some point in the future. Yanming's hand looking a little more clunky. These locations still haven't come down, by the way, and he is at 12 mana already. It is gonna be like quite difficult to just get value out of these throughout this game. Now he just plays. He just like tries to make hand space because it's really difficult to do anything with this hand. It feels like all of the minions are not that great. Plays double Carcalis Brawls basically for no outcome on the board. Like he just used the Brawl to gain 20 life. Jiati picks up a Barnabas off the top, coming in really nicely. He's thinking about playing this for glory, realizes that he probably won't be able to do it because he would overdraw with the draw from Ancient of Yours, so he's gonna think about it for a long time and not do it. Does finish off the Bulwark. Yanming is only at 75 with a Sulfuras coming to Jiaoti's hand. That represents 24 damage alone on the Time Warp turn. And Yanming does his favorite play, I think, of the that I've noticed this tournament, which is bobbing the enemy Barnabas for the discount on all of the quest rewards. He's not able to play it right here, right now. He should be able to play it soon. Jiati pushes the one with the Bulwark, then equips the Sulfuras. Love to see it. All of his minions already cost 0. And decides to just like brawl this board away. His Ancient of Your actually wins the brawl. And suddenly, Yanming is only looking at 58. Like, Jiaoti's Ceaseless already deals 10. We have another 8 from the Mega Fin, and maybe the random Murlocs can help out too. For 5 damage for each minion on the board, with that Crystal Core being able to come down on the next turn. You also account for the 2 hero power to Sulfuras swings. And it suddenly looks like Yanming would just explode. He picks up a Galvadon off the top too. Okay, well that has to just be lethal, right? If you get like extremely unlucky on the Galvadon, you might not get there, and then you could possibly lose to Amara. So what Jiati might be thinking here is that he's so incredibly winning that he doesn't actually need to go for the lethal here, and he just decides to clear with the Ceaseless instead. And Yanming really doesn't have a way to defend himself. By the way, the location, the 10 mana location that we decided to play, that we coined at least for, on turn 3, still in hand. And we're never going to play it, because we're just going to die to the Time Warp. Isn't that crazy? Never did anything with the Elises this game. Yanming will be able to put himself up to 43 life, but it is not going to matter, especially with Elise now top decked, being able to push even more damage with an attack location. This Galvadon does miss on Wind Fury, actually, but I mean, it's not close. He does actually even hit +4 attack and a copy from this location, so as long as he plays literally any minions, that will be lethal. I think it's already lethal next turn. He does even play the location for good measure, and that will conclude the Warrior Mirror. And actually, Xiaoti will just win this series straight up from here. The Yanming did not look like himself in this match, and Xiaoti will advance to the semifinal to face the winner of Yanming, or of Philfiel versus Maxi. Maxi on his Psycho Rogue versus Philfiel on the Hunter. Philfiel's 1-0 up in the series, managing to already win a grindy control game with a Death Knight. And Philfiel's hand is looking quite nice. A Sylvanas and an Illyria already in there with an IL to be able to guarantee that Hunter will have enough resources. But Maxi does have a very strong turn here with double Platy, following up after this Coin Web Weaver, being able to draw a lot of cards. Does not hit anything to continue his turn. So when me and Maxi tried testing this matchup out, he did actually just do this to me every game pretty much, and then he ended up like playing everything must go on turn 3 a lot of the time, just because this tempo web weaver would just allow him to do whatever he wants. Unfortunately, that is not the case here. I am almost wondering if he was supposed to start with prepping the doobie to kill the 2-4 so that we don't have to trade it with the web weaver. Unfortunately, that does not happen, and Philfiel will play this Illyria for two spells, which also ensures that any future Sylvanas will clean the board up against this rogue. Maxi just has to find an EMG turn to force out the Sylvanas, hope that there is no Brewmaster for it. He does find the Shadow Step for the Platy, so as long as he draws an EMG, it will come down. Finds a second Shadow Step too. And that is an EMG being active. It does come down. There is an Ally Advisor, which is pretty clutch. That gains 3 armor every time this gets damaged, so it will gain 9 armor against a Sylvanas. Philfiel is considering whether he wants to bargain bin or what he wants to do with the Sylvanas. With Sylvanas will almost certainly be coming down. Decides to go with the Scout Tracking, putting another spooky minion on the board. And in case he finds Brewmaster, he will be able to maybe bounce the Sylvanas if it manages to stick. And the Scout helps with that a little bit, because it provides a higher priority target, arguably. Yeah, Maxi does get 9. He is looking a little unhappy about that Sylvanas coming down, but not much you can do about it. And this turn for the Rogue is looking quite abysmal, given that you kind of have to play the O-Manager if you want to play the Insidious next turn. So you will be taking a lot of damage from these sisters. And Philfiel does have the Patchwork Pulse in hand, coming up really clutch. With the Leok and the Misha, this will set up lethal against the Insidious, making the Rogue unable to play it. So Maxi has to go for the Mauler clear instead, trying to hit as many minions with the asteroids as he can. There was a doobie in that map, so we will not be done with card draw yet. We will actually be drawing like almost the entire deck here, from Maxi's perspective. He's not happy about the doobie hitting the 3-2 as well. The Rogue does make a tiny bit of a board, but the problem is the tiny bit of a board won't be enough, as the Nael and the Parallax Cannon will come down, and this Rogue's weakness will get exploited, where it just doesn't have any healing. It doesn't have any way to defend itself, as outside of random everything must go minions. And yeah, the rogue will be put to 8 life, setting up a guaranteed lethal with the weapon and the hover, unless the taunts come down from the second EMG, which is the last card. I think last turn Maxi was really looking for that EMG too, trying to get some tempo, maybe the taunts on the board from it. He does coin it, no immediate effect from the minions, and Maxi does go down 0-2 to Philfeel, and Philfeel will only have that Egg Warlock to win with, and that Egg Warlock will win later on and result in Philfeel winning the series, beating my favorite to win the whole thing, and the person that I've also helped out with the preparation. It's quite unfortunate. We hate to see that, but the tournament goes on. And we have up next, sorry, I messed this up. Definition versus Lovestorm, Game 5 of the semi-final, Hunter versus Warrior. Lots of Hunter versus, was it lots of? I guess maybe this is one of the first Hunter versus Warriors today. But it is quite surprising to see both of those two so-called best decks having to battle it in the Game 5. Lovestorm does tempo the Scout, knows that the Scout cannot die, and also knows that the Scout is probably not as important for his deck as it is for these non-Elise builds. But the Lovestorm hand is not looking particularly hot. Tempoing the second Scout feels really dangerous because it does just die to the hostile invader, which Definition's already inclined to play. Definition slightly scared of the Scout. I don't really understand why we're so scared of it, but maybe we just feel like we are afraid of a top deck. Yeah, I'm not sure about that. Like, clearly Lovestorm doesn't have any Discovers in his hand, otherwise they would have been played last turn. Definition just free to do whatever he wants, so he decides to bob for a card draw. Let's hit Marin off it. And I suppose being afraid of that Scout was a little warranted if the radio watching was picked up, for example. And there is a pretty large Xavius on the board. Definition really unfazed by it. Copy uses another charge of the location plus the bob to clean it up. The Nail does come down, so Hunter can finally play the game a little bit. Finds birdwatching, able to discount these, makes it able to discount these encounters too. There is the, this is quite a choice actually. There's a Nui, there's an Elise. He picks up a Mixo. Probably tries to be defensive as he notices he's taking a whole bunch of damage, and Definition is laughing at this because that is a Ragnaros, and those are 2 Ragnaroses on the board. Trades off in such a way to push max damage, and the Hunter is at 5 HP here. And you can't even steal the Ragnaroses. He does find discount. Alright, well this turn is gonna go crazy for Lovestorm then. He does pick up tracking too, for even more craziness. There is a Tidepool Pupil coming down. Oh my god, everything's happening this turn. Glacial Shard, alright, that will help, I suppose. This, like, you really need to just go fast here, and yeah, like, you really just need to go. Don't really know how you're gonna deal with this board. He's not gonna be able to really deal with this board, but he is gonna be able to make a huge board off his own and go to 9 HP so that he doesn't die to the Ragnaros immediately. Unfortunately for him, there is a great Dracorax, which, wait a second, is this just like... Alright, this is something that we probably should stop by and think, or maybe just like slow down the game. Because it feels like there is supposed to be a guaranteed lethal here with the great Dracorax and a hostile invader, right? You could play the Dracorax, copy the invader, trade in the invader. Oh wait, that kills off your own Rags. Alright, right. You can't trade in the invader because you can. It does kill off your own Rags. What you can do though is you can play the Dracorex and then copy it, and that will deal with the taunts. Yeah, and that is like really close to lethal damage. No. Yeah, we pushed the free. Oh, right. And is this the best odds that we can get? I assume so. Yeah, I mean, you can't really play the spell because that would clear off your own Rags. The Rags don't go face, so Loftstorm uh, is going to live another day. And that day might be quite powerful because there is a Sylvanas. The problem is we're down a Grifta, we're down one Mixologist, and we're only at 6 life. And there is a Ragnaros in our opponent's hand. So adding all of those together, you kind of have to realize that this Rag might, you know, end the game at some point. There is an Elise picked up, which that could help delay that situation. And we can freeze this Great Dracorex, play either the Incendius or the Elise. Plan to play the other one next turn. And maybe the armor from this Elise could save Loftstorm. But the problem is we're up against a control warrior, and we're concerned about dying. And we're up against a control warrior that has lots of merits. So, no, the perfect scenario to be in. The warrior has not played any of its armor gain, so this 23 is quite elusive. It is actually a much larger number of life total that you will have to get through this game. And, yeah, alright, let's go back to a regular speed. Not much to do other than draw cards here. Definition does have the Ceaseless plus the Rag, which should end the game at some point if the Hunter is not gonna be able to gain any life. Does decide to just brawl the Incendius away. Wins the brawl. And just armors up, tries to make hand space for this Wondrous Wand, discount the Ceaseless. Loftstorm does snap pick. Wait, did he have the option? Okay, that was like a really quick pick. I assume he didn't have the option to gain armor there. Because that definitely should have been picked if that was an option. Only 2 minions on the board is a little spooky against the Rag, right? If one of the minions can get shield slammed, then that would result in the game ending on the spot right there. Lovestorm does pick up a Zilliax, but the only thing that Definition really has to do here is make sure that he doesn't have his own minion on the board for the Zilliax to heal Lovestorm here. Which actually that was probably a downside of winning that brawl last turn. So he really just needs this Dracorex to not win the brawl to secure the win now. Oh, he doesn't even go for it. Yeah, that's actually really clever. Just armors up as much as possible, board locks the Hunter, so that the Hunter cannot gain any life, and will be able to Ceaseless plus Ragnaros to finish the game off. The Ceaseless will cost at least 5, or yeah, at most it will cost 5 mana because of Definition will draw a card at the start of the turn. So you always will be able to Ceaseless plus Ragnaros no matter what Lovestorm does here. He does play the Shaladrisil. Try to offset some of the things. Actually, we'll be able to shuffle this Elise and try to look for armor. Does not find any armor from his Mixologist Potion, and he probably knows that it's over. Takes off his headphones. Yeah, just know that this is happening. Ceaseless Plaza Ragnaros shot will come down, and Definition will be our first finalist of the day. The rock shots really making this game quite one-sided from the Marin Discover, but that does just happen, and that is just Hearthstone. All right, going off to the next one. This is Xiaoti versus Philfeel. Death Knight versus Warrior. This Death Knight from Philfeel actually has a Steam Cleaner and I think a Renovator in it. We see the Steam Cleaner the opening hand immediately that is built to target this Control Warrior Steam Cleaner will allow Filfiel at some point to destroy the quest rewards from Xiaoti's deck. Not really great discoveries. The Sanmo does have 7 attack though. That might push quite a bit of damage in the early game, as the warrior does not really have the ability to deal with it. Comes down with a 2/2 copy. And does the warrior just like actually have to bulwark this? There's 10 damage coming down. Oh, he just armors up and shield slams instead. Right, that is a lot better. It's been a long day. I'm very tired. Don't really spot the place as much, and I haven't really watched these quite carefully enough. Okay, we probably have to just coin Ancient of Yore here. You're a little scared of plus attack on this location, but what can you really do about it? I mean, you could technically bulwark, but it just does not seem to spend our mana efficiently, and getting these Yores down is really important in this warrior deck. There is no clear for 6 mana in our deck anyway. It would be nice to maybe have a coin for a hostile invader. Okay, he does decide to bulwark over coining the Yor. I'm not sure that I agree with that. This will tank the plus attack from the Elise location. So at least there is that. Ooh, the Renovator does come to Xiaoti's hand. And if you're gonna use it, I think you might have to use it right now. Which is a little awkward because normally you would really like to Yor, but this location will kill you if you don't destroy it. So you probably have to do it. Very much an awkward decision though. You could also play Unleash the Crocolisk for Glory, coin the Yor into play. Try to board lock the opponent. Does not decide to go for either of those things, just plays the Yor. And, well, the problem is here, you're just taking a lot of damage, and you are kind of committed to playing this Renovator next turn. I'm not sure what you do. Bob inclusion from Filfiel. Comes down, he does decide to go for draw. That is a lot of blobs. And maybe Xiaoti is just thinking that he can clear this board up. He does draw a second for Glory, allowing him to draw a lot of cards at this point. I think you just are supposed to caution on the second for Glory, even though you did just draw all you can eat, which will clog up your hand space whenever you play it, but you're not playing it now, so there is that. I mean, you can't really renovate this location, right? Because there is a like the board is too large if you do it. And Filfiel will be able to play the Husk and copy either the Husk or the Leech, whichever one he really pleases to. And push quite a bit of damage in Xiaoti's way. He could also play the Xavius or the... he could... yeah, play the Xavius, play the Blob. Lots of options to create sticky boards. Yeah, there isn't really much of a reason to push the damage with this location yet. Like, we're not that close to killing the opponent, and these boards are actually really annoying for Xiaoti to deal with, and they'll push a lot more overall. Yeah, the Renovator still stuck in hand a little bit. Honestly, I have my regrets about not telling Maxi and Insane to cut the Renovator from their deck. They've been looking absolutely, like, the Renovators have been looking absolutely awful this tournament. Not really a fan of them in the Warrior at all. Now he decides to Brawl and Renovator. That does use up both of the Brawls, which is concerning. And he can just poison this free and play basically anything he wants, really. He chooses to want to preserve the poison, maybe? Or does he just want board space? Not really sure why you would want to preserve the poison. Considering you have so many blobs and so much so much poison available to you. He just wants to not have these minions on the board, I suppose. Given that he is lacking a foam renderer right now, he would not have a turn against like a soft board lock from the warrior. The warrior does just decide to clean up the board though. Trades into the Dracorex into the blob, the death rattles pop up and get destroyed by the Dracorex. I think you are just looking for more card draw. The Death Knight will just create another annoying wide board with more of these blobs created by the Bob. And the warrior, again, like, it is a little awkward for them to clear it. There is even a poison minions, like the Zilliax does not look quite that good. I feel like if I was the warrior here, I would just embrace the fact that the Death Knight does not have very many clears, and I would just try to get an Elise in here, or very many damage options. Or at least immediate burst damage options. The Death Knight does do a lot of damage over time to the opponent, but damage over time is like not immediate damage, so you're not afraid. Although you might be afraid of dying to like Shaladra on the spot. Alright, there is a foam render picked up by Philfeel. But this board does not represent a whole lot of damage. You might want to play the Pterodax as a free for free. Does not decide to do so. And this is definitely a good turn for Xiaoti to get down some of the greedier cards here. Maybe even go something like Elise and Ham. Although you do have to be worried about the possibility of second Hideous Husk. Can't quite kill you off though, would only leave your health total at 4 if you play the safety goggles too. I suppose, could you die to like Husk plus Foam Render if you don't clear this board? Well, Jyoti just decides to get the Ancient of Yore down, saying that he is going to have time to play this Elise at some point. And you might just like end up having to Elise for a 10. And it does turn out that this Invader is quite awkward for Philfeel to deal with. He does decide to spend a Morbid Swarm to kill it off. Can't really play this Foam Render while having pressure right now, so he just does decide to go with the Blob instead, and now plays the Pterodax. Trying to prevent the Quest reward for coming down with tempo? Maybe? I don't exactly know. Didn't really play this matchup much from DK's side. I'm not really sure what's important here. But Xiaoti is out of like efficient board clears. Does decide that this Elise needs to come down. Does come down for a 5. There is armor and there is discover a spell. Honestly, at this point, I feel like armor is more valuable. Does miss on the second option. I guess copy is not too bad, but you were really looking for something that would gain you, or Raptors being able to clear the board, discover a spell, or something along these lines. There comes the Pterodax for Philfeel, or not the Pterodax, the Renovator for Philfeel, being able, it is going to be able to deal with this location. But before that comes down, like the location is not open yet, so he doesn't need to do it right now, and he does decide to just turn into the Headless Horseman and equip this Foam Render. Headless Horseman, one of the most amazing cards that I have seen on the last time. Really happy with this card design. The Zilliax does come down for JLT, and that will clean up a lot of the board and heal JLT back to his max HP of 22. And JLT does need to set up a situation where he is going to be able to play his quest reward and play around the Steam Cleaner. Philfeel does just go in with his Ceaseless and plays Marin Wand. Tries to get as much pressure as possible. The head will actually mess up the wand discount, although that does go on a Golden Cobble, so probably not as important, since he's not going to be playing that card anytime soon. That is a lot of card draw in Jiaoti's hand. You do really just want to Marin before you do any of the ceaseless things going on. You really get any of these ceaseless things going on. So I think my line here, okay, this is not, oh, okay, we're just ceaselessing with the enemy ceaseless. Hey, that kind of makes sense. And we're getting the Marin down. Yeah, using the more expensive ceaseless. I was gonna suggest playing the Ham instead and saving the Bob to draw a minion, but this actually makes quite a bit more sense. And now we're going to be able to ceaseless plus quest reward immediately put pressure on the Death Knight. These legendaries not looking so great. One of them does go into your hand, which is nice. But yeah, not a fan of those. I think he is still looking for something to corrupt the Shaladra still. None of the cards of the hero power can do so. That's put up a quite annoying board again to deal with, but this is probably the moment where Xiao Ti will commit his quest reward, as the Marin can trade into the blob, clean up the entire board of Ceaseless, and yeah, I think you have to play a letter of it. Wait, he doesn't do it? He just plays a shield. Okay, I'm confused by this one. Because, like, the turn that you play your quest reward, you will be playing a lot of card draw. So I'm not quite a fan of spending the card draw here. I'd much rather just hold it for the future. A handler does get eaten, not particularly important for Philfeel. There is still an Isera, I believe, in Philfeel's deck. And a Goblet? Is that correct? I think so. Nothing really to shuffle back and Goblet, though. Maybe he can find an undead to do that with. We'll find a use for this corpse explosion on this board and create a board of his own again. Explodeneer. I thought that Explodeneer was gonna be quite annoying given that Xiaoti wants to do funny things with the wand. He does rope out this Stitch and Stew pick, which I think got a Ogre in there. Not very good. And Xiaoti will look to try to find a Time Warp from his deck. Finds a Galvadon, that is a quite a bit of value, and a Megafin. Finds a Barnabas, does not get the Time Warp or the Crown. There is nothing that shuffles in his deck, so he does just like want to Goblet for a reward. Okay, that is really good, the Karnasa actually being copied. So now you can play the Karnasa, get Steam Cleanered. Alright, if you less Steam Cleaner, the last reward, which is a Crystal Core, which I'm not actually sure about because I feel like you'd want to Steam Cleaner the Karnasa at this point. But what do I know? Philfeel is definitely the expert in these control mirrors. And he does Goblet. Oh, that's a Zilliax. That's a lot of Zilliax. That is quite powerful indeed. And this is actually a 6/6 that we got because that deals free to anything that it attacks before it attacks. And I mean, Xiaoti does not have clears. But what he does have is these Karnasas as rush minions and the Rag hero power to be able to clean things up. 40 cards in the deck, by the way. Yeah, getting that Petrified Augur is quite a disaster. Since he will also lose, or not really a disaster, but he will lose the other minion. And Xiaoti is the only real worry of his here is running out of life total. And Philfield does have a lot of Zilliax going on. And Xiaoti is only at 30. There is an Amara, so that will probably gain him another 20, I want to say, life. Is the number of life when he will have to play it. Which coincidentally is at 21. It's probably not gaining any more life than it will in this situation. And Philfield can cash in on these freebooters as damage. Does decide not to. decides that he values the freezes off the board more. And Xiaoti's deck is mostly just 5/5s. Or 3/2s actually. The 3/2s will not be turning into 5/5s. Not a great Galvadon so far for Xiaoti. I think he was really looking to find stealth. Does not find it. So this will just die to a Ziliax. One of the 5 Ziliaxes in Field's hand. Does decide to convert his hero power with the Sulfuras and gain himself as much life as possible. Not really sure how is Xiaoti winning from here. This looks extremely difficult for this spot. You just have a bunch of free freeze and your life total is very limited. Yeah. Nothing really to go off with Xiaoti. And like, I actually don't really know what are you supposed to do. He is going to go for the Mega Fin. Any interesting Murlocs? Not really. There was a Rush one, but not very impactful. There is a Tortola and a Marifra in this Golden Cobalt. Also, we have a Farseer Nabundo. Not sure if there are any spells remaining in Xiaoti's deck. I don't believe so. But this Tortola just by itself will be a huge upside. Oh wait, and he has a Replicator! Oh my god, he can replicate the Tortola with the 1! Unfortunately, he does not have enough life total. He decides that he doesn't have enough life total to be able to do it. Which is understandable, so this Tortola will just get traded. But there is a Merifra in Xiaoti's hand, which I believe that resurrects something like the Great Dracorax, Ziliax, and Tortola now, right? I don't really know if there are any other minions that it gets. Yeah, so Philfield does not know about that yet. So in his mind, he is completely winning, except for if Xiaoti gets some like random nonsense legendary. And the random nonsense legendary does come down. There comes the Marifra. Oh, and a Ceaseless. That will clear Philfield's board. The Dracorax is still hidden behind taunts, by the way. So it will never really die. And the Ziliax will go clean up too. Is that just game? Is that the first time ever that Marifra has won a game of Hearthstone? Might just be. The Ziliax will even heal him up. Not that he really needs it. An 8/8 comes down. Xiaoti knows that there are no actual board clears in Field's hand. He will have to go for the Golden Cobalt. And he needs to get as good of a Cobalt as Xiaoti's, if not better, to win this one. Because these Ziliaxes, like, you will have to get rid of these Ziliaxes if you're going to do that. He decides to play the Ziliax and the Corrupted Drake instead. Shuffles the 8/8. I mean, you don't really want to shuffle the Ceaseless. You definitely don't want to shuffle the Marifra. You could have considered shuffling a Dracorax, as there are 37 cards in Xiaoti's deck. I feel like maybe that could have been better, but the Dracorax will just die this turn, and then you can play another Ziliax. Yeah, maybe Philfield is still fine here, actually, after all that happened. But there are gonna be more minions coming down. Oh, you could even try to activate this Party Planner Vona. I'm not sure how much damage Xiaoti has taken on his turns through this game. But you could definitely activate it by attacking into this 14. He does do it. Yeah, he is feeling safe with the Tortola. The Oribus. It is a little awkward to use because it does just cost it does just take a long time because it gives a death rattle to a minion. And yeah, that just takes a long time to get going. And Philfield is not that quite yet. since these Ziliaxes will heal him when get traded into. It does look like the Rag will probably finish the thing off. Yeah, that was an absolutely crazy golden kobold. I don't really understand why this Agafa is fancy. Oh, because of the Orobus, right. That was the little lights around it meant. Yeah. Agility will just push damage. First year Nabundo comes down. I don't think there is a single spell in Agility's deck or a single ability to get a spell, so that location will just be a -1 board space. But I don't think it matters very much. Yeah, he will clear off this Nabundo, play a Ziliax. I mean, he is still staying in there. Like, Philfield is still very healthy. Jyoti is at 11. He will actually die to 2 Foamrender swings. There is an Nifendra, but Jyoti is kind of out of stuff here. Is Philfield actually managing to turn this around? What an absolutely crazy game, though. There is an Orobus, which I think Jyoti is pretty happy with his decision to try to keep that around as long as he can. No reason to play this free to, right? Because it only draws you free twos from the deck. Filthy is at 7 fatigue damage, by the way. This is a pretty large number. I don't know if these undeads get there for Philfield. He will just play them both. Clean up this 1/1 so that the taunt stops coming back from the Nifendra. Can't really swing at this Orobus, I don't think. But there is a random 8-drop in this tiny little box. I'm not actually sure if Xiaoti should have played the Nabundo at all. Here. Yeah, this -1 board space is kind of harmful at this point. You really want the free twos to continuously refill that. The rack shot does hit the lifesteal minion. Huge for Xiaoti, actually. To be able to hit that minion. He can't actually clear off this 6/5 though. So the weapon hit can go face. Does find a taunt from the hero power, and he can just go Puppeteer plus Kobold. Probably. He could also go triple taunt. I'm not exactly sure if that's any better. If you go triple taunt, then Xiaoti will have to swing 4 into this taunt. Yeah, so Philfield has decided another taunt is better here, and wait a second, how does what can Xiaoti do, right? I don't think he has lethal here. And the hero power plus the weapon swing would just end the game. Unless I'm missing something. The Rakshas... Oh! The Rakshas goes face instead of hitting the taunt, and the fatigue damage will kill Philfield off. When Xiaoti had no way to prevent lethal. So it actually came down to a 50-50. What an incredible game of Hearthstone. And Xiaoti, this way, will advance to the finals of the Hearthstone World Championship 2025 and go up against Definition to decide who is going to be the Hearthstone 2025 World Champion. The veteran, Xiaoti, 4th appearance to the World Championships versus Definition, has been also long at this stage. I think this is his 2nd World Championship as well, being able to qualify through the point system. Xiaoti was very convincing in his qualification for the Chinese system. And this is 1/1, Shaman versus Warrior. And we have not a great opening hand for Xiao Ti. He does decide to keep the Shatter Block. Try to get that going as quickly as possible. Unfortunately, none of his early board pressure is in his hand. Quite a disaster of a hand actually for Xiao Ti. If he does not pick up like a Flight of the Firehawk or a Bellhop here, this game might be really tough. Yeah, you hate to see that. Like, you can see this on Xiao Ti's facial expression right now, how much you hate to see that in the early game. I assume he is just pretending to think. I don't know, maybe he was thinking about playing the pop-up book here. There is a Growfin, which is not particularly helpful. And there will be an Elise from Definition coming down. I would feel so good in this situation if I was the warrior. And Xiao Ti, to be fair, it's not that essential that Definition wins with the warrior, as Xiao Ti still has his hunter left. So that should be favored into the warrior. Oh, Xiao Ti, he decides to not hero power here. Says that the board space is too valuable. Discover a spell and Death Rattle. Not the greatest location I've ever seen from Elise. And Xiao Ti is able to coin this Frosty Decor. Is not looking that good though with the follow-up play, so he might just decide to not do that. Maybe Hero Power, maybe just pass. Okay, he does decide to Hero Power, given that he has the Wish in hand and he'll be trying to play for that. And and he just decides to kill off the Elise in case Definition got copy. No copy here, but there is a Discover a spell. These spells are not very good, admittedly. Shadow Flame Suffusion is probably most likely to get you a decent play, but I'm not opposed to Champions of Azeroth either. But, I mean, this is not what you want. He does go for the Suffusion. He will kill the Growfin probably with it, as that spell does not usually do very much. Just a 0 mana deal too. These options are not great. You could play take the bot phase eventually as like the -1 hot space. He takes the Stadium Announcer. I'm not thrilled by that one because you don't generally want to give the aggressive player the weapon. The weapons are a lot better as an aggressive tool than they're as a defensive tool. So yeah, I'm not thrilled by that choice of definitions. And especially here, like, if he wants to just play the all-you-can-eat, I feel like I would have taken the Latorvian Armor instead, so that the minus, like, top decking it would not be so bad, because you want hand space anyway, and you could just be able to play it here. Yeah, you would miss out on the draw, oh well. But the Stadium Announcer does come down. Not happy with this choice set of weapons, and we do have a spectator issue. But the facial expression of Definition looks like something has gone wrong here. And this Wish Upon a Star will come down. Xiao Ti is very excited to pick it up. And yeah, we have a Foam Render! There is a Foam Render on Shaman's side that will be able to swing multiple times throughout this game. I mean, Xiao Ti is basically playing Death Knight right now with all of the tokens and the Foam Render in play. Xiao Ti thinks about trading. He says, nah, not worried about this one free. The Invader will come down and the location will be clicked. None of these options are particularly good again. He decides to go with a Part Scraper, but it just hits him for 5, right? Like, you can't even play it here. There's like, if you play the shield block, play the Part Scraper, like, Xiao Ti has been passing every turn in the early game. The Furious Fouls is very likely in his hand. I guess he says that he only loses to Furious Fouls, so maybe that's okay. But the Furious Fouls just kill him off. I don't really understand what happened this game. It's just like, Xiao Ti didn't actually do anything. It's just, Definition played an Elise and then played spells that killed him. It's quite a crazy outcome, actually. But I genuinely think that if Definition did not have Elise in his hand this game, I feel like he would have won. Alright, and we have a match point for Zhao Ti, Hunter versus Warrior. This Elise Hunter build, Zhao Ti claims that this is favored into Warriors, and this is why he's playing it, and this is why he's been leaving Warrior up, banning Hunter. We will have to see how that goes. We do have a bird watching, something to do on 2 mana. A lot of the hunters don't have this luxury. It does have a Grifta immediately. I think I would just take that. In this matchup you do, I think, or at least I believe you do need to go fast as Hunter. There are probably some people that will disagree. But yeah, Zhao Ti does go with a Grifta. There is already a pupil in hand ready to take whatever spell that will be. Discovers a spell from Aledia. Finds an Ice Trap. And the Grifta will come down here in a moment. And we do have deal free. We could also take draw free cards as our hand does not look too full on cards, but with that pupil already being active, I feel like you kind of have to go for deal 6. Just try to assemble the combo of Neri and believe that a few of your top decks plus the bird watching will get the job done. Definition does play the Elise and coin out a Grifta, this time a much better location with gain 6 armor and discover a spell. Elise also comes down for Zhao Ti off the top. And there is a copy, and there is attack. I think you want attack over Raptors in this matchup. The Raptors are not particularly useful. Not that many minions on the Warriors side. And in case there was a copy, then this Elise does get frozen. No copy for the Warrior. Just armor and spells. After that last Shadow Flame Suffusion, I don't think Definition will pick it again. The Sylvanas does do 4 to the board, but I feel like you just want to get this location down, start getting value from it. There is a Renovator in Definition's deck. You're a little aware of that, but I mean, the location is actually not that important to the Hunter deck. So I think you're just okay with this development. You can just use the deal 6 on the 0/6. Pushes 4 damage anyway, puts the deal 6 in the pupil so that you don't have to worry about that for a while. And you could maybe even do a scout turn next turn with scout, bird watching, and a pupil. You do like kind of value your scouts in this matchup, like you do have to value your scouts as Hunter. And I suppose you do have copy, so maybe that's like not the appropriate time to do that yet. It's just a little difficult to find a turn for me here, or if I was in Zhao Ti's spot. Okay, Zhao Ti just decides to birdwatch here. Despite going for a scout turn next turn. Could just take the Xavius. Could even just like play the Xavius. Conserve this Sylvanas for a Zilliax to clear or something. There is a Nael that will come in quite handy here for Zhao Ti. And Zhao Ti is now very happy that he's decided to conserve this Nael, or this Sylvanas, as it will have to come down and clear up this guard duty board. Actually quite a low roll for Definition from this guard duty. I've seen there are actually very few 2-drops in the guard duty pool right now, and 2 of them are 2/6s, and also the 4-drops get quite a bit bigger than this. Does decide to go with the Nael. Just tries to start playing cards. He does have the option to play take the Isera to increase the ability of his damage combos with Niri soon, and ramp up so that he has just more options overall. The Dracorix will come down for Definition, or at least he's been hovering it. Not really that much to do with it though. Like, it's not the greatest Dracorix board that I've seen, but Hunter does not generally have tools to deal with it. Oh, and there is a Niri. There was a Dirty Rat, I think, in this Definition Warrior, so that could be a concern. But there are so many minions in this Hunter hand that I don't think you have to be particularly worried. I feel like we'll see an Isera come down here. Yeah, Jyoti agrees. And we can either play a Nice Trap or a Pirate Sanctuary. I feel like Pirate Sanctuary would be better to help you set up these needy pupil combos. And actually, Jyoti already has 24 damage in hand with this Scout Pupil and Needy, and that costs the grand total of 7 mana. So he might just, like, if he's gonna be able to pick up a second Pupil right now, it might just be lethal. Gladiatorial Combat, that does tend to be generally pretty good in this warrior deck, as a lot of your minions are pretty expensive. Unfortunately, that's hit the Marin this time. And definition is only at 37. Oh, this is 36 with the scout. Can you fill the pupil? Have to count that really quick. And I believe you can. So you can just go scout, or needy scout, location, start clicking the locations, play, yeah, and play all of the damage at the definitions phase. And that is going to be it. That is going to be Xiao Ti becoming the 2025 Hearthstone World Champion. He can't believe it. He's really happy right now. Shows off his little bear there to the camera. And yeah, that is the entire World Championship. The Xiao Ti, the champion here. Really happy to see it. And yeah, I don't think we have the summary. Yeah, alright. Thank you all so much for being here with me, watching these recaps every day, or maybe only some of the days when you miss the action. I am very glad that you guys could enjoy them. I will be going back to some more regular Hearthstone content, maybe game reviews, maybe something else. You guys will have to see that in the following days. Huge congratulations to Xiao Ti again. And for all of you, have a wonderful rest of your day, night, wherever or whenever you're watching this. And yeah, bye.